Jay Monahan is back to work today at PGA Tour headquarters. Fine and dandy. The speculation's going to be, the talk is going to be, is he going to get fired? Is he not going to get fired? What's he going to do? Is that going to last? And all that. Fine. We'll answer that question right off the top here and then focus in on a detail that's more interesting to Darkstar and me. And no Darkstar today again. Wish it was more mysterious, but it's just a work thing that he's tangled up in. So let's answer the question about is Jay going to be gone or not gone, and then get that out of the way. Yes, he's going to be gone. There. When is that going to happen? November-ish. This November, around there, there'll be an announcement that he's moving on to other opportunities or whatever he's going to be doing. The standard corporate stuff, choosing to spend more time. It's been a rigorous couple of years. He's got, that's what they'll do. Now, and I'm thinking this out loud first time, right? And I'll give it to you, our audience. Jay has done a phenomenal job. Here's the press release in November of this year, stating his departure. He has done a phenomenal job. He has guided the tour into the new era, into this deal with the Saudi PIF. And Nuco is on a solid footing to move forward, blah, blah, blah. And Jay is going to move on now to pursue other opportunities as he's put in so much time. He's spent more time with his family, et cetera, et cetera. And we wish him all the best and done a great job. That's how it'll happen, okay? Fine and dandy. Why November of this year? Why not a year from now? Why not sooner? Why is he back at all? Why not wait till first quarter of 2024? Because, and it ties into some of the larger issues that are more interesting, frankly. You can't get rid of him now. Well, and we said back when he disappeared for medical reasons, which was all baloney. Yes, that's a baloney story. They didn't even camouflage it very well. Was he in trouble with Jimmy and Ed? Did he tick him off by doing something that he shouldn't have done? I think so, because I don't think they ever wanted him to disappear in the first place. They just had to disappear him, and maybe we'll hear that story sometime into the future. But I think he crossed them. I think Jay crossed the board in some way. Maybe it was the letter to Congress, as we speculated, and that would be a good reason, or maybe that plus some other things. In any event, the board, the PGA Tour is right as we speak in, let's call it, intense, if you want to use that word, negotiations with the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia, and a massive deal for the PGA Tour. It's incredibly meaningful to them. If the whole thing collapsed, the PIF would just move on. 5 years from now, it'd be a blip in their rearview mirror over at the PIF headquarters. But in the PGA Tour headquarters, this would be a catastrophe if it doesn't work out. It really would. And we can talk a lot about that. We keep saying that on Twitter and different places. But yeah, the PGA Tour needs this deal like grim death. I mean, they really need this thing to happen at this point. So they can't appoint a new CEO or commissioner of the PGA Tour while they're in negotiations with their future partner. You can't do that. That for a lot of reasons. Tactically, it would be silly. The PIF may have a very different idea of who they want to run the combined entity, in spite of what the framework agreement says. It's all up for negotiation. And, they're going to have their opinions. If they haven't voiced them already, they probably have. They'll be voicing them over the next several months. And you just can't, if you're the PGA Tour board, you can't just put a new guy in or woman. You can't put a new leader in while that's happening. That would be disrespectful. It would be poor strategy. It would be poor form. It'd be a distraction. First of all, they'd have to go do it while, Ed and Jimmy and the board would have to be interviewing candidates all along if they didn't just promote the COO, Ron Price, who probably isn't the guy, almost certainly not the guy, more of a numbers guy. So no way that they're going to do that. No way that they can bingo Jay out of there and get a new guy. So what would they, if they had to get rid of Jay right now, they'd have to put an acting or interim CEO, presumably Ron Price, and the president, whose name escapes me, one of those two guys. But that, again, they just don't want to do that. It's just a total distraction. So what do you want to do? Well, you do what corporations do. You leave the guy there and you watch him. You don't let him do anything critical, nothing strategic. and he just sort of fumbles through the day by day, and nothing really happens. It's the status quo. Fine. And shrewd guys in that position, in Jay's position, already know that. They know their days are numbered. The old saying in corporations is, what are you doing day to day? I'm training my replacement. And that's just the way it goes. Fine. Fine. But that's why he's there. He's there filling the desk until they get to the time frame that they can go get a new guy after the PIF has chimed in and when they're ready to go do that. And it's going to be an extensive search. So fine. Let's tie in the extensive search with, and they probably already started behind the scenes looking, with timing. Why November? Well, because November is not January. They got to run their tour, and they need a leader, obviously, and they need a better one than Jay. And the players would be the first ones to say that, the PGA Tour players. So things are going to get very busy starting in January of 2024. So the new leader needs to have at least a minute to figure out where the bathroom is and meet the people and get going. Well, that takes months, really. But to get the new person in there any later than November would be problematic for the new person. So you got to optimize the whole thing. So there, again, another point, it speeds up negotiations. We've got to get this done quicker. The sooner the better. We don't want to run into 2024 and still be talking about this thing. That's why they set December 31st as a deadline. They don't want to get anywhere near that deadline. They want to be done in September as quickly as possible. Get this thing done. Then they can bingo Jay, still in November though, and get the new person in there. Fine. That's what's going to happen. Okay. Comment. We'd love to go back and forth with you on that. Tell us where we're off target if you think that way. Or certainly let us know if you agree. So what is Jay going to be doing day to day? That's more interesting to me. And we'll hear from Darkstar when we get him. He's going to be doing nothing strategic is the quick answer. And what does that turn into? Well, it's kind of comical, but I'm looking down at my notes here. I'm calling it's the call Jimmy modus operandi. So Ed Hurley, the chairman of the board, has had the conversation with Jay. Here's what we'd like to see happen going forward while we're negotiating with the PIF. And if you need something, Jay, if you need to talk to AT&T or one of our big sponsors, or if you need to do something that's, more strategic in nature, call Jimmy. Call Jimmy. In other words, don't do a thing that's important without clearing it with us, the board, first. Okay? Do you understand what I'm saying, Jay? And Jay would get that message loud and clear. And if he's got two brain cells that are working, he knows that if he violates that, his compensation package on the way out the door is going to be dramatically affected by that. So don't do that. You don't want to cross the board at this point. That would be bad. And obviously, we're not privy to any employment agreement that Jay may have or may not have. Don't know how that's set up. There's no way to know unless it's out there in the press somewhere. But even if he did have something, you just don't want to mess with the board when they could really make your life much more unpleasant than it need be on your way out the door. Plus poison the waters with future employers. You don't want to do that. Oh, Jay, yeah, we let him go, but he's a great guy. He'd be a great hire for your organization. You can imagine somebody down the road asking Hurley that question. Or Ed could make it a very different picture. Like, yeah, Jay, he's incompetent and we let him go for a reason. So it's in Jay's interest to follow strictly the orders of the board from here until the day that he leaves. Does he know that he's leaving? I think so. I would think he knows that. Literally, did they tell him or not? It's a coin flip. Usually boards don't do that, but maybe they did in this instance. I don't know. Ed is an experienced operator. So is Jimmy Dunn. So they're handling it the way they always handle CEO transitions, whatever that may be. Maybe we'll find some evidence in clippings from other corporations that they've worked with and advised. I doubt it, but maybe that's out there. So the call Jimmy routine is right now. Well, what does that mean? What can he do? I believe, and this will be fun to watch, that you're going to see Jay showing up a lot, counterintuitively maybe to what I just said, but you're going to see him a lot. at tournaments. He'll be, out in front again and, oh, he's back and all that stuff. Yeah, because tournaments and saying things to the press that aren't strategic, like he would have had to do at the Senate hearings where he didn't show up because of medical reasons. They didn't want him there because he has to answer questions. I think we said that in a couple of shows ago. You can't have the CEO there because he can't claim ignorance. That doesn't look right. Well, because, sharp question askers like good reporters, if there are any left, probably not. But the senators, certainly the hostile ones, would have gone all over him like, oh, you can't speak to the financial condition of the PGA Tour in great detail? Well, how's that possible? You're the CEO. So you can't say, I don't know, and you can't say, I can't remember. You can't do that. That's not how it works in corporate America. If you're the CEO, you better know what you're talking about. That's why you want to avoid questions if you can. So Jay will be out at these tournaments, glad handing the players if they'll have him, and glad handing the press and the sponsors, whoever else he can get in front of. That's fine. Go out there and do a PR tour. That's exactly what he should be doing as far as Ed Hurley, he and Jimmy Dunn are concerned. And it'll look right to the public. They won't think anything of it. They'll think he's back in control. And meanwhile, he's not talking to the big gun sponsors. He's not making strategic plans. He's not, got his staff in a room and charting the course for Newco's operations into next year. And what's the calendar going to look like and all that stuff. And, maybe he'll touch those issues while he's there, but he's not going to be making any of those decisions for sure. Call Jimmy. I love that part. How are the players going to react to Jay being back? Not well, I don't think. If you were forget it. If you were a tour card holder, you member of audience, you golfer, if you were on the PGA Tour, even if you didn't have a live offer, and most of them did not, let's be real, the rank and file did not have potential offers from live, so they weren't financially hurt at all by staying on the PGA Tour. They were helped, in fact, by staying on the PGA Tour because of the designated events, the chance to make more money. They pump more money into it, blah, blah, blah. Now you have Newco, more money potentially to be made, and that's what it's all about. You're a professional athlete. You're there to make money. If you didn't care about money, you'd be an amateur. Fine. So, but do the rank and file want Jay there? No. Why? He's a traitor. Let's call it that. He's a two-faced liar. However you want to characterize it, you can say it nicer than that, but he's duplicitous. The guy is a snake. He told us one thing and did the opposite. Okay, well, no, you can't ever trust that guy again. Doesn't matter what he does. Because no matter what he says to you, you can't believe it. Why is that? Because he said something to you for a year, more or less, and then did the exact polar opposite. Said that the Saudis were, basically they don't want to do business with them, bad people, and now they are. Okay, you can't recover from that. It's a life-ending event. Sorry. Was he set up to do that? Maybe. We're working on a show. Don't want to give it away, but maybe. So let's put that aside. He is not going to be welcomed back by the players. Are they going to run out a couple of guys to say nice things? Yeah, sure, of course. They can do that. Jay has, I'm sure, one or two players that like him. They're beer drinking buddies or something, or the families are friends, who knows. But yeah, you'll see somebody say something nice, and you'll see a lot of guys say nothing. And the right thing to do if you're a player is say nothing. Just quiet. No, the Jordan Spieth approach. Don't say anything. And if you're cornered in the press conference and you have to say something oblique and move along. Yes, Jay's back. We'll take that day by day and see what comes. Next question. Okay, that's what media school's all for. Go and say something and then don't say anything at the same time. John Rahm is not particularly good at that, and we all love him for that. Thank you, John. He might go out and say something very interesting, maybe, or maybe his agent's gotten a hold of him and said, no, don't say anything on this issue. And it gives me a chance to sneak in. Is John Rahm talking to Phil Mickelson? They are friends. They're good friends. Go look in the past. You'll recall the first hug John got after winning the U.S. Open was from Phil Mickelson. Okay, so, and I've said this before on the show, I think those families are friends. I think the wives are friends, family-oriented, children first, that kind of thing. The Mickelsons run that way. I think the Rahms are running that way. And that means you're friends. That's the way that works in families. So John may not say anything. It'll be interesting to watch. That's one thing we should be watching for, is if Rahm says anything interesting about Monahan being back. I'd like to see that. Rory, who cares? It'll be interesting to see if he says anything. If he's smart, he won't say anything again. Rory should take that line. And then the mysterious Tiger Woods. Where has he been? Gone. Absent. Totally not commenting that we've seen on any of this. Will he say something? He shouldn't, but maybe he will. I don't know. The whole Tomorrow Sports thing, which is Tiger Sports World, they've got a huge, monkey wrench now in their plans, and they're working hard to figure out the new best strategy for them, assuming the deal goes forward. Now, our last episode or whatever it was, we said they're hoping the deal doesn't go through because that helps them at Tomorrow Sports and it helps Tiger. Yes, that's true. Oddly, we'll sneak this in. A financially crippled PGA Tour makes the PGA Tour a much easier takeover target for somebody else besides Piff. Who could that be? Tomorrow Sports, Tiger Woods. Yeah, he could ride in as the savior of the PGA Tour that's crippled and in a shambles, having lost the Piff deal now. And what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And, we're going to look to Tiger Woods, who will lead us to the promised land. That's a great scenario for Tiger Woods. Maybe Mike McCarley over at Tomorrow Sports is thinking that too. We could walk through that whole strategy. Mike, give us a call. We'll walk you through that, how that works. He'd probably already come up with it on his own, but can you pull it off? Having the idea is one thing. Execution, a whole different ballgame. But so where will we hear from Tiger? I don't know. Who knows? But we'll be paying attention to all that. So look for Jay to be out front, very visible, kind of the opposite of what's been going on for the last few weeks. Very visible, talkative to an extent, not strategic. Anything that he says that sounds strategic, I would discount immediately. I don't think he will do that, but who knows? He's maybe a loose cannon sometimes. And then we'll watch carefully for any kind of interesting comments that we can use as a breadcrumb, because we like to do that here on the show. We live for breadcrumbs. Why is that? Because the opposition doesn't usually telegraph what they're going to do. So analysts try to figure it out, and then we'll give that to you. And then we enjoy doing it. Hopefully you enjoy hearing it. I think we'll wrap on that. Hopefully get back Dark Star back in here tomorrow, which would be Tuesday, July. What is today? Today is 17th. Jay's back till the 18th. So maybe tomorrow for Dark Star. Till then, B Team is out. We don't charge for our videos. We don't tease you with some of the information and then make you go somewhere else and buy the good stuff. We want to help. So we just give it all to you right here. And if you'd like to maybe give us $1 or $2, that would be awesome. We're on Venmo. It's super easy. Just hit us up there, connect, and whatever you want to do. We love it. We appreciate it.